Hello and welcome to our webinar, Great Graphic Novels, Graphic Novel Book Buzz Part 2. I'm Donna Seaman, Adult Books Editor at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Today's slides and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the link. You can also download them by copying the URL on the screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we will pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the live transcript icon on the toolbar. From there, you can select show or hide subtitles from the menu. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting subtitle settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates the standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. So today we have the pleasure of hearing from a great group of graphic novel panelists. We have Susie Yi, creator of A Sky of Paper Stars, Mary Van Aken, School and Library Marketing Director at Macmillan Children's Publishing Group, Mel Schuett, School and Library Marketing Manager at Quarto Kids, Ashley Kronensberg, Marketing Manager at Diamond Book Distributors, Chloe Ramos, Book Market and Library Sales Manager at Image Comics, and Jennifer Chan, Executive Director of Sales and Marketing at Fantagraphics. Welcome, everyone. So our first presentation will come from Mary Van Aken, School and Library Marketing Director at Macmillan Children's Publishing Group. Mary is going to share some new titles with us and then introduce our very special guest, Susie Yi. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us here today to talk about graphic novels with you all. I am going to quickly share my screen. Great. All right. My name is Mary Van Aken. I am the Director of School and Library Marketing at Macmillan Children's Publishing Group. If you are looking to stay up to speed with graphic novel news from Macmillan, I highly recommend following First Second Books on Twitter for daily recommendations. In just a few minutes, I'll introduce our special guest, Susie Yi, author of the upcoming middle grade graphic novel, A Sky of Paper Stars, one of my most memorable reads of this year. But first, I'll quickly introduce you to just a few new graphic novels coming up this fall. First is Donna Quixote, Rise of the Night by Rex Ogle, writing as Ray Terciero and illustrated by Monica Magana. Texan Lucia Castillo grew up hearing her beloved grandfather's stories of his days saving the world. But to her family and neighbors, he was known only as Abuelo Loco, a delusional man who played dress-up and fought pretend monsters. Yet one day, Lucia finds a helmet that belonged to her grandfather, which reveals a hidden world of magic. What she soon discovers is that the town mayor is really a shapeshifter of Mexican lore in disguise, and she and her best friend have to set out to stop his evil plan and prove that her grandfather truly was a hero. Donna Quixote takes the best elements of popular contemporary realistic graphic novels like Nat Enough, friendship, family, tons of laughs, and the tween quest for self-confidence and acceptance, and fuses them with the action-packed, kick-butt story that will appeal to fans of Zeta the Space Girl. And it's the perfect type of retelling. You absolutely do not need to have any knowledge of the original. But fans of the original will really enjoy the modern reboot. But everyone will enjoy this hilarious, magical, warm-hearted adventure. Next up is Saving Sunshine. The two main characters in this new graphic novel by Sadia Faruqi and Shazleen Khan are so relatable to me. Zara and Zishan are on a family vacation and just cannot give each other a break. When their bickering becomes too much to bear, their parents take away their devices and force them to spend time together. And so while pouting on the beach, they find themselves bonding over an ailing turtle who they are presented with the opportunity to help. And really, they start to learn why they've been fighting all along, because they didn't always fight. And we end up learning about all the external forces that threaten to harden these kids, from being made fun of for wearing a hijab to getting left out of club projects because of a funny sounding name. Relatable, humorous, and heart-wrenchingly honest. This book really goes through the hate Muslims in America face, and Saving Sunshine ends up being a story about two siblings learning to support each other in a world that can be unkind. Sadia Faruqi, who so well known and loved for her Yasmin series, is an incredibly talented writer with a knack for kid-friendly, relatable dialogue and family dynamics. And this book is heavily inspired by her own children's constant fighting. And Shazleen Khan's, you can see her expressive line work here. It feels so crisp, and combined with their own experience as a Muslim, they've infused the story with dignity, empathy, and fun. And finally, Hockey Girl Loves Drama Boy. If anyone's looking forward to the release of Heartstopper, I think just a few weeks or less, this is a YA graphic novel that is perfect to recommend to those fans. Faith Erin Hicks has been winning over comics readers for over a decade, and Hockey Girl Loves Drama Boy is perfect for anyone who craves romance, a bit of drama, and really messy, incredibly real human relationships. The book follows Alex, a star high school hockey player who's really just learning to control her own anger. And that quest kind of leads her to Ezra, the popular and poised theater kid from her grade. So she asks for his help, and they end up falling for each other. So really perfect for any of your young readers who are clamoring for more romance graphic novels. A couple quick shout outs before we move on to our special guest. We are publishing the Eisner and Pura Belpré Award winner Frizzy in Spanish this fall. We have a dual language teacher's guide in the works. We also are publishing the Speak graphic novel and paperback for the first time. We also have plenty of continuing series that are included in our title list. You can find out more information about the continuation of these young reader favorite series. And now, without further ado, I will invite Susie Yi to join me on screen. Susie Yi.
Hello.
Hi, Susie. It's so good to see you. Susie Yi is a Korean American author, illustrator. You may know her from her wonderful Cat and Cat Adventure series, published by Harper Alley and based on her own beloved webcomic Cat and Cat Comics. Her next graphic novel, A Sky of Paper Stars, is on sale this fall and really outperforms when it comes to moving, relatable middle grade. We follow Yuna, who's desperate to fit in her middle school, but feels trapped by her family's insistence that she maintain the family's Korean cultures and traditions. When she makes a wish on 1,000 paper stars, a legend she learned from her grandma, Hamoni, to return to Korea so she can finally feel normal again, nothing goes as planned. Thank you for joining us, Susie. I've heard you talk about how personal this book is to you. Can you share your inspiration for the book? And was it really difficult to pull from your own memories?
Sure. My inspiration actually mainly came from real stories that my mom would tell me about her mom, my grandmother, and all the sacrifices that my grandmother had made. And as a kid, our family had this little tradition of going to Starbucks. We chat over hot chocolates, about our days, and sometimes they would actually tell us funny stories of the memories they had after they immigrated here, the first years, the difficulties they had, but also like the fun times that they experienced, and also of their lives in Korea with my grandmother. And every story I actually wrote down in a Google Doc. And in this Google Doc, I just wrote all the memories because I really didn't want to forget any of them. And I still actually have this long Google Doc to this day. And this story was based on a lot of the real life memories that I had in this Google Doc. But there's also a story for others like myself too. As you mentioned, when I was younger, I never really felt like I belonged, even among the Korean Americans, because I was too Korean. Or when I went back to Korea, I was too American. And so it's a common story that you might hear. But when my grandmother passed away, I really had to find my sense of self and belonging. And so this story pulls from all these very personal memories that I have. And the feelings as Yuna grapples with her sense of belonging in the aftermath of her grandmother's passing away after she makes a wish to belong in Korea. And as she turns to paper, I really wanted to represent the fragility that we feel when we're figuring out how we fit in to the world, into our families, and into our cultures. And since it did come from the heart, it was not that really difficult. The main thing was, I remember I started writing at 4 a.m. It was like a first draft in bed on the notes app on my phone, because I really didn't want to forget this idea. And so it was really meaningful to be able to write this book.
Yeah, I love the intergenerational relationships in this book. It reminded me a lot of the movie The Farewell in that way. What characters came easiest to you? Were any of them harder to bring to the page?
I think the easiest characters to write and create and draw was Yuna and her mom, because they represented my real mom and me in real life. And we have a close relationship now. We weren't always as close as we are now, but because she was able to share with me so many of her memories, it was easier to write these characters. The hardest character I would say would be my grandmother, my Harmony, because I didn't really have a chance to get to know her directly as much. We lived in different countries, and back then phones and chatting apps weren't like what it is today. And so I actually went to my parents' house and looked through the old like shoebox of my grandmother's old handwritten poems and letters to try to feel closer to her as I created her character here.
Thank you. You can see some of Susie's actually gorgeous artwork here. And I think, you know, the story brings to mind so many different favorite books. If your book had book friends, who would A Sky of Paper Stars be friends with?
Probably books like Pashmina, Stargazing, and really any books that have a touch of magic and stories about wanting to fit in, where the characters realize that there's absolutely nothing better than being themselves.
That's the perfect way to describe this book. And I think we're just about at time here. So I just want to take a moment to ask if there's anything else you'd like to share with the audience. I know, for instance, that there's so many different color palettes within this book. So maybe if you want to share a little bit about that, or really anything else as we wrap this up.
Yes, every choice in this book with colors and with the lettering, with the type fonts, were very deliberate to showcase Korean and English, and also just the memories all have different representations as colors. Some are monochromatic and some are in full color. And so because Sky of Paper Stars is a personal story, I also wanted to highlight that it's not just a personal story, but a story that I know that all kids can relate to as they encounter a lot of change in new environments and different relationship dynamics. And I just hope that readers can see these new perspectives, but also as they read about Yuna and read these memories as well, that they can also go on their own journey and learn how to be themselves.
Great. Thank you so much, Susie. Everyone, I cannot recommend this book strongly enough. The ending is just, we didn't want to give anything away, but it's one of the most gorgeous, heart-rending endings I've read this year. Please take a look at A Sky of Paper Stars by Susie Yi. Thank you for joining us. My contact information is on the screen. Please do not hesitate to get in touch. And thank you again to Susie and to Booklist.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susie and Mary. That was lovely. All right, we're very excited now to have Mel Schuett with us. Mel is School and Library Marketing Manager at Quarto Kids. She is a children's book enthusiast with an MA in Children's Literature, an MFA in Writing for Children, and a BA in Studio Art. In her free time, she runs the blog Let's Talk Picture Book and shares her home with 3 black cats and 1 tiny black dog. Mel, it's so great to have you here.
Hi, thanks so much, and hello, everybody. My name is Mel Schuett, and I work at the Quarto Group as the School and Library Marketing Manager. A huge thanks to Booklist for having us today, and an even bigger thank you to you for taking time out of your day to learn about some new fantastic graphic novels that we publishers have in store for you this summer and fall. Next, please. Today, I'm here to talk about our graphic novel line with the comic brand Saturday AM. Saturday AM has garnered praise for everything from inclusivity to imagination to action. And we actually just got our first ever starred review for the brand with our July title, Henshin. Thank you, Kirkus. So we are pleased and humbled to see how well these titles are resonating with schools and libraries. Next, please. I know we're focusing on summer and fall here, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of our top titles at the moment, Underground, Volume 1, Fight Club by J.R. DeBard. The first volume published in May, and the series follows Taekwondo artist Kareem Yoon, who is fighting his way through the brutal underground martial arts world in order to get revenge against the violent gang that ended his Olympic dreams. Serving as his conscience and nurse is Maya Kang, who is slowly learning more about both the danger and the allure of secret mixed martial arts contests, and the lengths her new friend Kareem will go to in order to take back what was stolen from him. This title is great for fans of series like One Punch Man and Fist of the North Star, which feature underground, action-packed sports stories with flawed main characters who are trying to leave their mark on the world and prove that their names carry a powerful legacy. Next, please. Shifting to what we have coming up. Starting in August, we have the second book in the 16+ series Oblivion Rouge. Umi has survived famine, tribal warfare, and a devastating virus. Now in Oblivion Rouge Volume 2, Deeper Than Blood, she must continue trying to survive the brutal initiation of the mighty army called the Hakkinen. Several young recruits have died already, so Umi decides to gamble everything she has when she tries to unite the rest of the young initiates left alive and defeat the admirals. With the looming threat of the supernatural enemy Hells, this conflict will be pivotal for Umi, her friends, the future of Africa, and the entire world. Kirkus Reviews praised the first book in the series for being a compelling title for fans of manga, science fiction, and future world building. It's great for fans of comics with darker themes like Spill Zone and Wires and Nerve that dig into the emotional intricacies of a post-apocalyptic world and explore themes of survival and good versus evil. And yes, this is the only Saturday AM title that you'll see with spot color throughout. Next, please. Publishing this September, we have the second volume in the 10+ series, Titan King. In Volume 1, The Fall Guy, hot-headed Honduran teenager Eli Santos was abducted by an alien scout selected to participate in a galactic tournament that will decide the course of over 1 trillion life forms. To make matters worse, Eli has been partnered with one of the most feared and uncontrollable titans, Rexlo. In Volume 2, The Flame Princess, after a less than successful attempt at battling the king, Eli and his alien friends are sent on a mission to find a pyromancer who can help their wounded friend before the tournament begins. One problem, though: if they don't return in 3 days, they face expulsion from the games. Can they make it back in time to enter the Titan King tournament? And how will Eli fare in a tournament of titans? Kirkus said Volume 1 was chock full of action and cool manga-flavored power-ups. And we think that this is perfect for readers and viewers of Dragon Ball Z and the new Teen Titans series. Next, please. Soul Beat is a groovy new series coming out this October for readers aged 13+. In Volume 1, The Payback, we meet Dante Alfonso, a promising boxer who has always been quick to step in and hold down his city, whether it's from a bully in his neighborhood or even stopping robberies. But sometimes good deeds attract unwanted attention, and when Dante tries to defend his mentor from being killed by the worst person imaginable, the devil himself, Dante finds himself targeted by the forces of evil for his interference. Dante must use the knowledge his mentor left him and hone his newfound spiritual powers, not only to save his own life, but to destroy the devil before more lives are ruined. He'll have to uncover the truth surrounding his mentor's mysterious past and ultimately show the afterlife what it really means to have a soul. Readers of Shaman King and Bitter Root will find lots to love in this book, with themes of good versus evil and protecting the shady underbelly of society because it's home. Next, please. Also out in October, Saturday AM Annual celebrates the diverse manga heroes of the brand in original short story anthologies from talented up-and-coming artists worldwide. Ranging from action-oriented superhero tales to heartfelt examinations of identity and orientation, the 2024 edition focuses on taking popular Saturday AM characters like Cast from Clock Striker and Sano from Apple Black and pairing them with exceptional new artists. The 2024 annual includes debut artists from Argentina, Brazil, Indonesia, Vietnam, Zimbabwe, and more. Because the annuals contain stories for all ages, we do have the full collections rated at 16+. Next, please. The last 2 titles I have for you here today are the 4th volumes in their respective series and will be published this November, starting with Apple Black. Holy Spectre, rated 13+. Apple Black has been the best-selling series so far of the Saturday AM brand, and its creator, Adunze Oguguo, has over 500,000 followers on YouTube alone under the pen name White Manga. In Holy Spectre, Sano's journey continues as he is destined to save the world with the Arodis arm by Merlin. After getting a fiery start to Black Bottom Island's Guild for Young Sorcerers, Sano comes to fear that his power will either have to save the world or destroy it. His visions have been offering him a darker path, and as Sano seeks to find those responsible for his loss, he must decide if he will let these fears consume him. On top of everything, the Arodis arm has awakened within Sano to help rescue Black Bottom Island, but Arodis's help comes at a cost that Sano isn't quite prepared to pay. No one, including Sano himself, might ever see him the same way. Apple Black is a great read for fans of Bleach and My Hero Academia, with mind-bending story and action-packed imagery that's full of plot twists, cliffhangers, and shocking deaths. Next, please. In the 10+ series Hammer, Volume 4, Stud versus the Jungle King, Stud is also continuing his harrowing journey. Having already landed a hit on the Jungle King, Stud boldly asks for his stolen bag back, but once Brutus gets serious, Stud's fighting chances begin to dwindle. Brutus is determined to keep the bag so he can use the maps to find and exact revenge on the genie who killed his son, whereas Stud is determined to get his bag back because it's the only link between him and his friends in the Ocean Kingdom. Will Stud get his bag back? Will the Jungle King ever avenge his son's death? Find out. Hammer's beautiful, playful manga artwork combines the modern stylings of One Piece and the whimsical characters and settings of the Bone series. Next, please. And that's all I've got for you for now. My information and beautiful hand-drawn by Saturday AM, not me, face, are up on the screen, so please feel free to reach out with any questions and follow us on socials. Thank you again so much to Booklist and you, and back over to Donna to introduce Ashley from Diamond.
Thank you so much, Mel. That was great. And yes, we will now hear from Ashley Kronsberg. Ashley is the marketing manager for Diamond Book Distributors. She is the editor of Diamond Bookshelf magazine. Ashley has been with Diamond since 2016 and oversees all life cycle marketing for Diamond's book market client publishers. Along with creating and executing marketing plans for key titles, Ashley curates, edits, and publishes Diamond Bookshelf magazine, a triannual magazine providing resources to librarians and educators about comics and graphic novels. Welcome, Ashley.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for attending today's webinar. We have a lot of great titles coming out this season, but first I've got some housekeeping. If you aren't already, please give us a follow on any of your favorite social media platforms. Diamond Bookshelf is our librarian and educator outreach program that provides comprehensive information on all things graphic novel and manga across publishers. This includes lesson plans, interviews, reviews, digital review copies, core lists, and our triannual magazine to help you stay up to date on best-selling and most anticipated titles. You can scan any of the QR codes to sign up for our newsletter and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Speaking of which, you will find QR codes on all of our slides. Be sure to scan them to view our catalog or read a copy of the book presented. Now, I'm so excited to talk to you about the books we have coming out, so let's get to it. What happens to a snow person after the child who made them goes inside? Snowboy is here to answer that question as he heads off in search of where he truly belongs. Young readers will go on a thrilling adventure through the forest to help Snowboy find his family. This title is coming from Curiosity Books in September and is accessible for readers 3 and up. The popular TikTok animated series is back with an all-new holiday adventure. Humbug has infected the residents of Cattsburg, and now the Pickles are here to cheer them up. But Snowball the cat is determined to foil their plans by convincing the town that the Pickles are aliens. This title is also from Curiosity Books and will be published in October for readers 3 and up. Here we have the first graphic novel in the world of the best-selling game of the same name, created by Relogic. Terraria the game has sold over 50 million copies with fans of all ages flocking towards it. In the graphic novel, Terraria is a land of adventure where Vale lives a quiet life. But when an exhausted boy tells a tale of monsters, death, and mayhem, Vale and his friends rush to investigate. Terraria Volume 1 is for readers 8 and up, and it will be coming from new publisher 50 Amp Productions in February. The cult classic is back with a new in continuation story by the original creator, Greg Wiseman, reintroducing the Manhattan Plan. The gargoyles' bonds are tested once again when nefarious factions worldwide attempt to steal the most precious thing of all, a gargoyle egg. This is coming from Dynamite Entertainment in September, and it is for readers 12 and up. Next, this bold graphic odyssey births the Moonray universe from comic book to video game and beyond. In a post-human world, the man of Mayim is born. Created to avenge a slain goddess, our nameless warrior travels an unrecognizable landscape, constantly evolving with new wonders and terrors. Moonray, the graphic novel, is the basis for the Moonray third-person multiplayer battle arena game, which will debut in the fall of 2023. Coming from Living the Line, this graphic novel release in October will coincide with the video game, and it is for readers 12 and up. This is the Pulitzer Prize-winning webcomic is coming to print for the first time. The story follows the real-life experiences of Zumrat, a mother of 3 living in China who was arrested for being Muslim, and sheds light on a fraction of the human atrocities happening around the world. I Escaped, a Chinese internment camp, is for fans of nonfiction memoirs, is suitable for readers 12 and up, and it is releasing in September from new publisher New Friday. Next up, we have Shepherdess Warriors, which won the 2022 Algalum Prize for Best Youth Title for ages 8 to 12. Set in a world where the men of the village left for war 10 years prior, the women of the village have established structure and defense in their absence. Molly is excited to turn 10 so she can finally join the Order of the Shepherdess Warriors, but this quest quickly becomes an odyssey of a young heroine on her journey to find her missing parents. For this story, Shepherdess Warriors is a middle grade title with an animated series in the works, publishing from Ablaze this October. This is a drama of 2 souls with the Big Apple as their witness. This compelling and emotional tale takes readers through the streets of New York City with the pastel and nostalgic lens of 2 people forever intertwined. Not a New York Love Story is coming from Fair Square Comics this September, and it is for readers 13 and up. Combining combat sports, video games, and 80s sci-fi, Tower is a high-impact adventure exploring themes of trust, working with people from different backgrounds, and unchecked technology. Tower is being published by A Wave Blue World for readers 13 and up, and it will be available this September. This is one of our most anticipated titles of the fall. You may know him as the father of epic fantasy, but before he was the creator of Lord of the Rings, he was a soldier in World War I. This graphic novel explores the youth of J.R.R. Tolkien as his traumatic experience of the battlefield, which would eventually forge the imagination of his literary work. The horror of war will brand his relationship to friendship, love, and creation. Tolkien Lighting Up the Darkness is coming from Ablaze this October for readers 13 and up. What happens when a misfit group of students walks through a door to another dimension? They come back with superpowers and a giant monster that followed them. The darkness we brought back is for fans of The Breakfast Club and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, pulling together themes of friendship, loyalty, and community. It will be available from Seismic Press this November. J.R.R. Tolkien isn't the only genius in our roster this season. Celebrate the godfather of manga's birthday with the release of Team Phoenix Volume 1. Incorporating fan favorites such as Astro Boy and Jungle Emperor Leo, fans won't be able to put this series down. Coming from Udon Entertainment this November, this title is for readers 13 and up. Some of you may already be familiar with Harry Moore, but this is Abstract Studios' debut into the traditional book market. On the heels of Strangers in Paradise is released this summer, the world of Kachu, David, and Francine expands with Parker Girls. Exploring the world of high-stakes embezzlement, human relationships, and love, Parker Girls is for readers 16 and up, and it will be available this October. Jungwoo Min has a special ability that lets him see when a path leads to a misfortune. But after too many good deeds, people start to think he's causing the disasters. This is a story of a hero and his struggle between happiness and despair. For fans of Chainsaw Man, this wildly popular webcomic is coming to print this September, published by Ablaze, for readers 16 and up. Coming from one of our new publishers, Black Panel Press, Al Capone is a biographical story following one of the most notorious gangsters of all time. Based on truths, lies, myths, and rumors, this encapsulates why no one will ever forget the name Al Capone. This title will be available this September, and it is suitable for readers 16 and up. Another fan favorite webcomic comes to print. Get Schooled takes place in a world where the education system has gotten so bad, the teachers are no longer able to control their students. To combat this, a new Education Rights Protection Bureau has been installed. Once instated, the institution sends out its most successful minister to the worst schools to restore order. Get Schooled is for readers 16 and up, and it will be available this October from Ablaze. Another title from Black Panel Press dives into the struggles of migrants from Mexico, Central and South America on their way to the United States. Set in Latin America, the story features a complete cast of Hispanic characters from a Mexican creator. Illegal Cargo is for readers 16 and up, and it will be available this October. Taking the conversation of women's rights and putting it into a new perspective, I Don't Want to Be a Mom is the recollection of the author's ambivalent feelings regarding motherhood while growing up, and an exploration of the imposition of motherhood on women as both an expectation and a path towards fulfillment. I Don't Want to Be a Mom is being published by Graphic Mundi this November, and it is suitable for readers 16 and up. Also coming from Graphic Mundi is a coming-of-age graphic memoir set in the West Bank, depicting the reality of growing up in a region split by religious tensions and sometimes violent conflict. From political protests to personal struggles with school, body image, and relationships with family and friends, this graphic memoir is one you won't put down. Good Girls Go to Hell will be available this November for readers 16 and up. And the final title on our list is another manga from Ablaze. Being published for the first time in English, this series follows Officer Daigo Agawa after he has been reassigned to investigate the mysterious disappearance of a countryside cop. For fans of Junji Ito, this series has been a live-action show streaming on Hulu. The manga will be available this November and is suitable for readers 16 and up. Thank you so much for attending today. If you have any questions, or if you would like to read any of the books from our publishers, please feel free to email me. And don't forget to follow us to stay up to date on all these titles.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ashley. I just love all the variety of your presentations. So our next presenter is Chloe Ramos. Chloe is the book market and library sales manager at Image Comics, where they provide resources to librarians and educators looking to utilize comics in their institutions, not only as items to be acquired, but also as keys to facilitate increased patron engagement. Thank you so much, Chloe, for being here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. Again, I'm Chloe Ramos, and I appreciate your time today. Starting off, we have our August releases. Kicking things off, Doug Wagner and Daniel Hilliard have done it again, giving readers a neon thrill ride like no other with Plush. Devin has just found out the love of his life might not be the one. It's the worst night of his life, but he's got the support of his friends, and that support comes in the form of an invitation to a furry convention. Furries, they're just like us, except sometimes they're also cannibalistic cult members consuming convention goers, and poor Devin just accidentally witnessed them mid-murderous meal. Luckily for Devin, his new plush pals see something in him. Now, whether it's a meal or something more remains to be seen. This bizarre love story is 50% comedy, 50% horror, and 100% fun. Plush is rated M for readers 18 and up and is perfect for fans of plastic and stray dogs. Next up, from creative team W. Maxwell Prince and Martine Morazzo comes Art Brut Volume 1. Mysterious acts of vandalism are happening in museums and art collections around the world. Artists are committing grisly murders, seemingly connected by a strange symbol. A man dressed like Andy Warhol seems connected to them all, but how? Enter the Bureau of Artistic Integrity and Arthur Brut, the mad dream painter. Can Brut stop what's coming? It all starts with a wink, but it might end with reality itself unraveling around us. This remastered edition of the work, originally published as The Electric Sublime, has been relettered and completely remastered, elevating the critically acclaimed title to its originally intended glory. Art Brut is rated M for readers 18 and up and is perfect for fans of Ice Cream Man and Cats of the Louvre. Starting off with our September titles comes Black Cloak Volume 1 from Eisner Award-winning author Kelly Thompson and fan favorite illustrator Meredith McLaren. Follow detectives Essex and Pax as they try to discover who murdered the heir to the throne of the last functioning city in the world before their fragile peace is dashed forever. Readers will be instantly hooked on this hard-boiled mystery set in a lush, fantastical world brimming with the bright lights of magic and deep, dark secrets. Game of Thrones has nothing on the world building and character-driven intrigue of Black Cloak. This title is rated T+ for readers 16 and up and is perfect for fans of Monstrous and Isola. Next up comes Local Man Heartland, Volume 1 from award-winning creators Tim Seeley and Tony Fleece. Superheroics meets small-town drama as disgraced former super team member Crossjack must return home after becoming embroiled in a disastrous controversy. With no love lost among his former friends, both new and old, Jack finds himself isolated, downtrodden, and at a loss as to what the rest of his life will look like. When he's implicated in the murder of a former nemesis, more and more bodies from his old life start piling up, and he'll have to find a way to clear his name and unravel a mystery that leads to an even bigger, more terrifying conspiracy. Local Man is rated M for readers 18 and up, and is perfect for fans of Public Domain and Watchmen. Our next title is Two Graves, Volume 1, from the award-winning creative team of Genevieve Valentine, Ming Doyle, and Annie Wu. This is a delicious, devastating riff on the myth of Persephone in the underworld that follows protagonist Amelia and her unlikely companion Death as they embark on a road trip to scatter Amelia's mother's ashes off the Atlantic coast. On their journey, Amelia will begin to manifest a strange power, a consequence or perhaps the reason for Death's failure to take her soul to the other side. Whatever the source, this power has the potential for world-shattering consequences, and there are those who would see it stopped at all costs. Can Death protect the maiden? Two Graves blends mythology, mystery, fantasy, paranormal romance, and horror into something you cannot turn away from. This book is rated M for readers 18 and up, but has great crossover older teen appeal and is perfect for fans of Lore Olympus and the Sandman storytelling universe. Moving on, Old Dog Redact 1 comes to us from award-winning creative powerhouse Declan Shalvey. In his newest venture, Shalvey brings his skills to bear in a high-stakes, higher-octane tale of action, espionage, and genre-subverting spycraft. Readers will follow Jack Lynch, an old warhorse, looking back on a failed career and its oh-so-promising beginnings. When a final mission careens headfirst into disaster, the last thing he expects is a second chance. Leave your expectations at the door. You've got no idea where this story goes, and that is a very good thing. Old Dog is rated M for readers 18 and up, and is perfect for fans of A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance and Bog Bodies. Finally, we reach our October titles with Parasocial from best-selling creative duo Alex DeCampi and Erica Henderson. Luke Indiana is a beloved TV actor making the rounds at fan fests and conventions in the hopes of rebooting his career after the cancellation of long-running sci-fi series he stars in. He spends a festival weekend taking photos and signing autographs, making every fan feel special, even if he can't remember a single one of them. When the convention ends, he should be headed back to face his decidedly unglamorous personal life, but a late-night roadside accident puts him in the path of an obsessive fan with her mind on a meet-cute. This tense psychosexual thriller also features a companion music playlist for readers to immerse themselves in while reading. Parasocial is rated M for readers 18 and up, and is perfect for fans of Public Domain and Misery. Oh goodness, sorry guys, it's not COVID. Next up is Phantom Road from Eisner Award-winning creative team, Jeff Lemire and Gabriel Hernandez Walta. Two people meet on the road when a trucker stops to help a woman who's just been in a terrible car accident. Beside the smoking wreckage lies an artifact which will change the course of their lives forever. Now thrust into circumstances they struggle to understand, they must drive mysterious roads on a seemingly unending journey and avoid terrible monsters as they try to escape a mirror world one detour over from our own. This title is rated M for ages 18 and up and is perfect for fans of Trillium and The Subtle Knife. And readers should make sure to check out Jeff Lemire's other new release, Cosmic Detective, for more surreal mysteries. Our next title, Antioch, comes to us from Patrick Kindlon and Marco Ferrari. This kinetic, darkly humorous superhero tale follows Antioch, heir to a magical lost kingdom, waging a long-running war on a polluting megacorporation seemingly bent on climate apocalypse. Fiction, am I right? Our anti-hero is no stranger to criminal activity himself. After all, when your enemies won't follow the rules and the fate of the planet hangs in the balance, sometimes you just have to do a little eco-terrorism as a treat. But now he's been framed for a crime he didn't actually commit and finds himself locked in a maximum security prison, cut off from his powers. How will Antioch survive now that his nemesis has him right where they want him? Antioch is rated M for readers 18 and up and is perfect for fans of Rogue Sun and Frontiersman. Our penultimate title is Hell to Pay, A Tale of the Shrouded College from Charles Soule and Will Sliney. This supernatural adventure follows Maya and Sebastian, an ordinary married couple working hard to pay off their debts. Next slide, please, sorry. To the shadowy magical organization using them to collect demonic currency in exchange for superhuman abilities. Can the duo recover the 666 cursed coins to pay their way to freedom? Find out in the action-packed opening chapter of The Shrouded College. This title is rated M for readers 18 and up and is perfect for fans of the Magic Order and Indiana Jones. Our last title, Monarch, comes to us from Rodney Barnes, award-winning comic creator, author, and producer, teaming up with fan favorite artist Alex Linz. Trayvon's life isn't easy. Orphaned as a young boy, a frequent target of bullying, he knows life isn't fair. But he sees the humanity even in his enemies and values his loved ones deeply. He wasn't supposed to love anyone. That was never the plan. The plan was to infiltrate and annihilate, because although Trayvon looks like your average teenager, he's secretly a scout for an invading alien species, and the invasion begins today. Can Trayvon live with his role in destroying what he's come to care about, or can he fight for his chosen family? Monarch is rated T for readers 13 and up and is perfect for fans of Philadelphia and Middle West. Thanks everyone for your time today. To request preview PDFs for any of the titles highlighted here, please email me at the address provided in this slide. And don't forget, you can find sample content for these titles and more on Edelweiss, and select first issues are available for free at imagecomics.com. Thanks everybody.
All right, well done, Chloe. Our final panelist today is Jennifer Chan. Following her passion as a consummate reader and lover of art, graphic design, and comics, Jennifer began her career working in bookstores soon after graduating from Boston University. She moved into the publishing world in 2001, working in trade sales for W.W. Norton, for Penguin Random House Client Services, and for a number of independent art publishers. Jennifer is currently the Executive Director of Sales and Marketing at Fantagraphics Books. We're so glad to have you here, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I'll be presenting highlights from our Fall 23 list and a special sneak preview of our Winter 2024 list. Please note that age ranges are included on each title slide, along with the on-sale dates in red. Up first is Totem by Laura Perez. Two young women road trip through the Arizona desert in search of a spiritual awakening. Crowds gather to see the village wise woman commune with the dead. Strange bright lights flash across the night sky, provoking all manner of interpretations. A mosaic of experiences, Totem offers tantalizing glimpses of characters on their own journeys, connected by some ethereal thread. The narrative slips through time and space, delicately drifting from reality to different states of consciousness. Like a vivid dream, this story is rendered through eerie settings and potent symbols, a spiritual puzzle inviting the reader to piece together. With Totem, this self-assured graphic novel by Spanish illustrator and comics artist Laura Perez is presented in English for the first time. Perez presents an entrancing contemporary vision of magic and mystery, aptly rendered through her wispy, atmospheric pencil lines. Time Under Tension is a smart, funny, no bullshit work of autobiography, a story of searching for dignity in a world that rarely affords it, and taking agency of adulthood in the face of so many easy excuses not to. MS Harkness is graduating from art school in Minneapolis and facing a crossroads in life. She has a strained relationship with her mother, a sexually abusive father on parole, and is in love with an aspiring mixed martial artist fighter who mostly hangs out with her to get high and already has a girlfriend. An art career feels untenable. As one professor tells her, don't expect to get by on this fucked up broke girl shit. She decides to get a personal trainer certificate, but continues to dabble as a sex worker and weed dealer because the money is too irresistible. With idle hands due to no classes or full-time work, MS has ample time to aimlessly fuck around or to get her shit together. Never didactic, always real, Time Under Tension is a spirited and assured work of graphic memoir. In October, we have Monica by Daniel Clowes, a genre-bending thriller from one of the most innovative storytellers of all time. Monica is a series of interconnected narratives that collectively tell the life story, or rather stories, of its title character. Clowes calls upon a lifetime of inspiration to create the most complex and personal graphic novel of his distinguished career. Rich with visual detail, an impeccable ear for language and dialogue, and thrilling twists, Monica is a multi-layered masterpiece in comics form that alludes to many of the genres that have defined the medium: war, romance, horror, crime, the supernatural, but in a mysterious, uncategorizable, and quintessentially Clowesian way that rewards multiple readings. 5 years in the making, Monica marks the apex of creativity from one of the defining voices of the graphic novel boom over the past quarter century. Ed Piskor's Hip-Hop Family Tree has been a global phenomenon and perennial bestseller since the first of 4 volumes was published in 2013, spawning multiple printings, 14 comic books, and the author's wildly popular YouTube comics channel, Cartoonist K-Fab. Yet the series has never been collected under one cover, until now. This omnibus collection includes the original 360-page series with over 140 pages of extra material, a cover gallery, new annotations of the entire series by Piskor, and much more. Plus, it features a foreword by Charlie Ahern and an afterword by Bill Adler. Piskor's cartooning crackles like Kirby and takes you from the parks and rec rooms of the South Bronx to the nightclubs, recording studios, and radio stations where the scene started to boom, capturing the flavor of late 1970s New York City in panels bursting with obsessively authentic detail. With a vigorous and engaging Ken Burns meets Stanley approach, this book is an essential cultural chronicle and a must for hip-hop fans and pop culture addicts. Fantagraphics is embarking on a project to reprint Marvel Comics' 1950 genre titles under its new Atlas series with the first 8 issues of the pre-code horror series, Adventures into Terror. Atlas holds a special place among aficionados of the genre, producing more horror titles and issues by far than anyone in the industry. While the quality of EC's titles was unsurpassed with their elite cadre of talent, Atlas was the equivalent of the B-movie studio, churning out anywhere from 8 to 12 different horror titles a month, giving a wider array of artists a chance to show off their talents. The Fantagraphics Atlas Comics Library is the first attempt to publish a carefully curated line of Atlas titles. Our first volume includes a treasure trove of stories drawn by many of the most stylistically accomplished artists of the Golden Age. The stories are written firmly in the tradition of the pulpy, perverse, borderline deranged style that brought Frederick Wortham, the United States Senate subcommittee, and public opinion down like a sledgehammer on comics in the early 1950s. Edited by Atlas scholar Dr. Michael J. Vasello, scanned directly from the published comics, and meticulously restored, the first volume of the new Fantagraphics Atlas Library series is an event among comics lovers, collectors, and historians. In January 2024, we have How War Begins, Dispatches from the Ukrainian Invasion by Igor, an acclaimed Italian cartoonist of Russian descent. In this real-time work of graphic journalism, Igor uses the medium of comics to depict the telephone testimonies of Ukrainians as Russia invaded in 2022. In vignettes that grow ever more horrifying, infiltrating spies, bombed cities, recorded accounts of children whose parents were murdered in front of their eyes, and more, Igor also relays the events that led up to the invasion. He tells stories of individual struggle and suffering with no resolutions because they are still happening. In art styles that veer from cartoon simplicity to photorealism, Igor paints portraits and scenes of ordinary people trying to survive among almost 10,000 civilian deaths. How War Begins is an important document of the past, the present, and the future. The celebrated Spanish cartoonist Paco Roca's most ambitious work yet, Return to Eden, is a touching homage to his mother and a bittersweet depiction of life in post-war Spain. Roca paints a heartfelt portrait of his mother's formative years. This delicate portrayal of a humble family is at once an intimate biographical story and a broader reflection of the hardscrabble existence many faced in post-war Spain. Antonia and her family soldier through constant hunger, the shady dealings of the black market, traumas of war and parental abuse, and the oppressive atmosphere wrought by the Catholic Church and Franco's authoritarian regime. And yet they find oases of joy and wonder in cinema, imagination, and small acts of kindness. In Return to Eden, Roca manages to charge quotidian life with rare poignancy in all its daily struggles and daydreams, and readers will come away deeply affected. New Yorker contributing cartoonist Caitlin Cass pens a sweeping history of women's suffrage in the US. In Suffrage Song, Cass takes a critical intersectional approach to the movement's history, celebrating the pivotal, hard-fought battles for voting rights, while also laying bare the racist compromises suffrage leaders made along the way. She explores the multi-generational arc of the movement, humanizing key historical figures from the early days of the suffrage fight to the dawn of the new woman to the civil rights era. Additionally, this book sheds light on less chronicled figures as well, whose stories reveal the complex racial dynamics that haunt this history. Impeccably researched and rendered in an engaging and accessible comic style, Suffrage Song is sure to spark discussion on the vital issue of voting rights that continues to resonate today. Complete in 3 volumes, Search and Destroy transplants the vengeful action of Osamu Tezuka's landmark epic Dororo from feudal Japan into a dystopian future where mercenary robots known as creatures serve the human elite and victimize the city's scrabbling, desperate masses. The violent death of one of these creatures connects an orphaned thief named Doro with a mysterious girl that conceals deadly cybernetic implants. Search and Destroy is a brilliantly crafted thriller about an outsider looking for meaning and vengeance in the unjust world that took everything away from her. Kaneko populates a stunning, high-contrast setting that echoes post-war Cuba as much as Tokyo, with an unforgettable cast of scrappy heroes and skin-crawling monsters on a non-stop ride full of action and suspense. This authorized retelling updates the rebellious 1960s spirit of the original Dororo, mixing Tezuka's signature dark yet playful storytelling sense with Kaneko's own wide range of influences, which include Western cartoonists like Daniel Clowes and Charles Burns, as well as filmmakers like David Lynch. The result is not only one of the best sci-fi manga of recent years, but also one of the most visually rich and distinctive works of graphic storytelling in any genre or language. And last but not least, we have My Favorite Thing is Monsters, Book 2 by Emil Ferris, coming in early April 2024. Set against the tumultuous political backdrop of late 1960s Chicago, this is the eagerly awaited conclusion to one of the most acclaimed graphic novels of the past decade, presented as the fictional graphic diary of 10-year-old Karen Reyes, as she tries to solve the murder of her beloved and enigmatic upstairs neighbor, Anka Silverberg, a Holocaust survivor, while the interconnected stories of those around her unfold. In Book 2, dark mysteries past and present continue to abound in the tumultuous and violent Chicago summer of 1968. Young Karen attends a protest in Grant Park and finds herself swept up in a police stomping. Privately, she continues to investigate Anka's death and discovers one last cassette tape that sheds light upon Anka's heroic activities in Nazi Germany. She wrestles with her own sexual identity, the death of her mother, and the secrets she suspects her brother Dee's of hiding. Ferris's exhilarating cast of characters experience revelations and epiphanies that both resolve and deepen the mysteries visited upon them earlier. Visually, the story is told in Ferris's imitable style that breathtakingly and seamlessly combines panel-to-panel storytelling and cartoon montages filled with B-movie horror and pulp monster magazine iconography. That's it for me. Thanks again to all who registered and for tuning in. All the titles in my presentation will be available very soon on Edelweiss and NetGalley, where you can download digital galleys and previews. Please feel free to contact me if you want to join our catalog mail list or with any review copy requests or questions you may have. I also send out newsletters for both our adult and our children's titles, so please feel free to get in touch if you'd like to sign up. And be sure to check us out and follow us on social media as well. Thanks very much, everybody.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Jennifer. A big thank you to all of today's presenters. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's video recording, the title list, the PowerPoint slides, and a certificate of completion. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can find archives of past webinars and register for upcoming programs like the ones you see here. Although Graphic Novels in Libraries Month is coming to a close, you can still enjoy tons of free graphic novel content from Booklist all year long. Be sure to watch one of our graphic novel themed webinars, read our Graphic Novel in Libraries Month supplement, currently free and open on all our websites, and enter our #ReadGraphic sweepstakes for your chance to win free swag from our sponsors. Visit our website for lots more details. Recently, ALA's Office for Intellectual Freedom reported 1,269 demands to censor library books and resources in 2022, the highest number of attempted book bans since ALA began compiling data about censorship in libraries more than 20 years ago. Please join Unite Against Book Bans campaign to help protect the freedom to read and to empower readers everywhere. Visit uniteagainstbookbans.org for more information, resources, how to donate, and much more. And remember that you can utilize Booklist to support your library's collection development choices with reviews backed by the American Library Association. We have a special webinar subscription offer to you today. Please don't forget that your subscription dollars help ALA advocate on behalf of libraries and librarians, assisting those facing an unprecedented number of book challenges. Please email us at info@booklistonline.com for more information. Thank you for joining us for today's wonderful webinar. One final thank you to our sponsors, Diamond Book Distributors, Image Comics, Quarto Kids, Macmillan Children's Publishing Group, and Fantagraphics. This concludes today's webinar. Thank you for being with us. Stay strong. See you next time.